Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. You might remember this card from a couple of weeks ago. Today I want to show you this simple covered notebook. It was inspired by this card. I need to send some goodie bags, some packages to some of my team members who have done exceptionally well here during Celebration in January. So I found these 5x8 notepads and I wanted to show you a fun way to just simply cover them. I'm going to send these off to some of my team to celebrate their achievements so far during Celebration. The Stampin' Up! Tools and supplies that you need to make this project include the Petite Petals punch, hardwood background, stamp pads in soft suede, real red, crumb cake. I'm using my many Marvelous markers. I need a Daffodil Delight marker. We're going to use this for both stamping and for coloring. I don't have a Daffodil Delight ink pad yet, so this is a good substitution. We're also using the Affectionately Yours Design Series paper. This paper is 12 by 12 and it includes specialty papers as well as designer series papers. You get one of each of these two of each of these two-sided patterns. We're going to be using an assorted variety of these, using up some scraps. It also includes some specialty designer series paper, and you can see how that's just catching the light, this copper foiled pattern on crumb cake. And then this one, this is just gorgeous. I don't know if the video is doing it any service whatsoever with its copper foil and all the beautiful colors. Okay, so that's the designer series paper. It's called Affectionately Yours. Our focal image on this project is from Hey Chick. Hey Chick is yours for free during Celebration with any $50 purchase. For every $50 you purchase, you choose a free Celebration item. So if you bought the materials that you need to make this project, the stamp set, the focal image here would be yours for free. All right, let's get started. I'm going to get some consumable materials here and we'll talk about those measurements. Okay, in front of me here, I have a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. This is 8.5 inches by 10 3/4. I just cut a 1/4 inch off the edge of the card. That's our notebook cover. Our pattern paper for the cover is this Affectionately Yours, and this is 5 inches by 8 1/4. And then I have couple of pieces for the flags here. These little banner pieces are 3 inches and 3.5 inches, and they're 3/4 inches wide. Got a little scrap of Daffodil Delight here. You'll need about 1.25 inches by 4. Little scrap of crumb cake. This is about 3.5 by 1/2. I have another piece of the Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper. We're going to use this one on the inside to cover the spine of the notebook. This one is 1 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I have Whisper White. You need about a 3x3 square to make this 3-inch circle. Some linen thread. It's about 21 inches. You'll also need a good 12 inches to thread some buttons. I just have buttons from the button jar. I think they make cute embellishments on flowers. I got these little brown ones and I threaded some linen thread through them, stuck them on a glue dot. And this is the embellishment we're gonna make with the little petite petal punch. So you'll need a couple of buttons and a little more of the linen thread to thread them. Let's score our pieces first. I'm gonna get my Simply Scored tool. All right, so I'm back with my Simply Scored here. We're gonna need to score this Night of Navy piece and this smaller DSP piece for the notebook's spine. I can't decide which pattern I'm gonna use on the inside there. All right, we'll figure it out when we get there. Let's get it scored, shall we? Okay, so I have my scoring tool here, and we are going to score on the 10 3/4 inch side at 5 1/4 and at 5 1/2. And then we're going to score our piece of Affectionately Yours Designer Series on the 1 3/4 inch side here at 3/4 and at 1 inch. Okay, that's our scoring for this project. Got my bone folder here, and we're gonna work these scores. Okay, my little junior legal pad is 5 inches by 8 inches, and I am going to top it with this little piece of Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper. Now here's the thing, I don't know if I want to do the pink pattern or if I want to do the multicolor pattern. You have a little flower on there, brighten things up. Or do I want to do the multicolor? This is my favorite pattern in the whole pack, so I have to admit to having a bias. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with the little multicolor. All right, so here you'll need some fast views. And you wanna run the fast views down both sides of this, to the right and to the left of the score lines. I'm going to carefully line the edge of my pad up against this front score line here, and then I'll fold back and adhere to the back cover. And I got this 21-inch piece of linen thread, and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the notepad also for a little extra embellishment. I'm going to hold a few inches, wrap around the front twice, and then on the back here I'll take a little bit of fast views and I'm going to tack the ends right into the fast views. Off the excess. I'll set that aside for a minute. Got our notebook cover here. I'm going to work the scores on this one. Okay, now with our notepad, we're going to run a line of fast views all the way down and even over that linen thread on both sides. Okay, so we have fast views all around the notepad. Let's go ahead and center that inside of our cover. So we're going to push it against the score line and then make an even border around the top, bottom, and right side. You got it where you like it, secure. And then we're going to add this little embellishment. I'll show you how we make one for the cover. Cute, so that's the inside. All ready to go. Let's lay our notepad flat and grab our Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper and some snail. Run some snail across the cover here and center that on the front of our notebook. And I'm centering right to left, top to bottom. We'll have an even margin all the way around the cover. It's looking pretty good. Now we've got to do some stamping. I've got Whisper White and our little hen from Hey Chick. Some soft suede. I'm gonna ink and stamp. I want to stamp her up high because she's going to be standing on some little banners. Speaking of banners, we'll give that a minute to dry while we work with those. Okay, I've got my 2 little pieces of Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper here, and I'm going to cut a little banner end in the bottom here of the flag. You can do that with a triple banner punch too, if you like. Alright, then I've got my crumb cake banner. I'm going to go ahead and trim that one. And I've got the words Hey Chick I'm gonna stamp those close to the dovetail that we made. I'm barely in the picture, aren't I? All right, there's Hey Chick. Now we'll take a little bit of snail adhesive and put these banners together. Got a little bit of snail on the bottom of that pink pattern. And I'm gonna layer it up on that cucumber crush pattern. A little bit of snail on the back of my crumb cake banner. Now that's a little bit long, so we're gonna snip that with scissors. Our banners are ready to go. Let's work on our little embellishment here. Okay, so I've got that button. It's threaded with some linen thread and it's got a glue dot. And here I've got a little piece of Daffodil Delight, and I'm gonna give that some pattern with the wood, hardwood background. Okay, I said before that I don't have a Daffodil Delight ink pad yet, but that's okay. I've got my Stampin' Right marker, so I'm gonna find an interesting area here, and I'm going to, using the side of the marker, I'm gonna swipe nice big swatches of Daffodil Delight onto the stamp. And then I'm going to prep my cardstock. Little scratch paper, I use foam book, a big block, and I'm gonna press. My Daffodil Delight stuck to my foam book. All right, so now I've got the hardwood pattern on there. Got my petite petals punch, and I'm going to punch a flower out of there. Now I've got a flower with a little bit of interest. This works with any of your background stamps or big pattern stamps. It's a lot of fun. Button that's sitting on a glue dot to the center of our flower. And then I've got another little mini glue dot right here. I'm going to pick up on the back of the flower and embellish my little banners. Now let's color this chick so that we can put this thing together, shall we? And I have a great big clear acrylic block. Since I don't have a Daffodil Delight ink pad yet, I won't be using that one to color my chicken like I'm going to do with the other ink pads. I'm going to take the brush tip and just scribble some on my block here. Pick up some of that Daffodil Delight ink, and I'm going to color the chick's beak and then touch a little bit to the throat here. Got a real red Stampin' pad here, and I've squashed the pad to get some ink into the cover. Works very similar to how we scribbled the ink onto the block. We've got that deposit of color we can pick up from there and put little touches of red. And our chick. Lastly, I have crumb cake, and I'm going to get in here with my aqua painter, pick up some of this crumb cake ink and fill in my chick. And as I move away from the edge, I'm really giving a good scribble, and you see that the ink begins to wash itself from the brush, and it lightens naturally as you move. So we'll start where we want it to be dark and move toward where we want it to be light, and allow the brush to just rinse itself and deposit the color, do all the shading for us. Okay, and then when it dries, you'll see that you get a nice variation, darker to lighter, some texture where those feathers are. You can speed up the drying process a little bit with a heat tool if you like. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this chicken. Now, my little banners need some snail adhesive right across the top here. Just a touch. And put them at her feet with that snail adhesive, and then flip over and add a couple of dimensionals to support the banners too. Okay, so my chicken is all sticky now. We're gonna add that to the bottom right corner of our notepad cover. There it is. Hey, chick. Got 2 of those. Aren't those fun? Okay, if you've got any questions about Stampin' Up! Or about joining my team, please email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.